The reason I'm speaking about a structure when it comes to the way people can proceed in terms of obtaining their own goals is simply because you don't have a fixed procedure that works for every single case. So essentially, the structure that I speak about allows anyone that wants to achieve their own goals to eventually get there, as long as you follow the structure and you understand how to apply the structure. So, in terms of practical steps that you may do, there's a lot of different things, and it really depends on the field that you want to work on. I can give some examples to give some guidance in terms of the options you have. But the thing is, these practical examples may or may not apply to your case. That's why I usually don't refer to practical examples on videos that are meant to go to general public. So I usually go with practical examples on my one-on-one coaching sessions. So essentially, for example, when it comes to scale a business, you can initially look out to scale first on local terms, which means you want to expand your business locally in the place you started. Or there's people that just want to go widespread, just reaching out different countries at the same time, and then from some points in each country expand from there locally on those countries. Essentially, you don't have an answer for this, like which one you should proceed with. The easy one is always to start locally, because as you go exploring locally, it's easier for you to do it. But again, you can do both. So this is just one very tiny example, but again, is like I'm saying, like you don't have a proper answer. And again, depending on the company that you have, like your business, you may want to, before you expand it in terms of infrastructure, you may want to optimize how things are going in, for example, one store that you have. So if you have one store that is just selling a product, you may want to optimize the all the procedures in that store before you look to get a second store. Again, this really depends on the business, but for example, another thing that I can mention is when it comes to relationships, for example. Like there's certain cases people have some situations, let's say they're on a relationship and things are not really going the best way, and people are considering to either try to make things work out with that person or just leave that person and find another one. And again, there's no straight answer to this either. It really depends on the case. But generally speaking, you could say that you should try to make things work with the person you are and communicate properly with that person what is going on between you and the other. Because sometimes you may think things are not going the best way, but you're not communicating that to the other person either. So that's important to acknowledge that communication is very important and you should actually speak. And then both parties in the relationship should have each own understanding and eventually try to work things out for the better of the two of them. And if you are trying this for a long term or a significant amount of time and it's still not working, again, you may consider to just leave the relationship, or you may try different procedure that you didn't look out. It really depends on the circumstances you guys are. For example, if you are with someone and things are not working, you don't even feel like you love the person anymore, it's pretty much the most likely scenario is just to leave the relationship. But if things are not working but there's still love, it may really depend if you guys want to keep trying to get things on the proper terms, or if you just want to let it go. Again, these practical situations are very specific, and that's why sometimes I come up with cases of my clients to make some examples. But at the same time, I don't want people to think their decisions, or the decisions we found to provide solutions, are the ones that you should go with, because your case is not the same for the other person that you just heard about. So it really depends, because each person is different, their own circumstances are also different. So it really depends on the situation. I hope this helped. And again, it's way easier for people to get on proper action when we go to one-on-one coaching. So I'm getting a bunch of questions. Again, I try to set some clearance around circumstances, but essentially it's important to get a good understanding of each person's story to eventually come up with better solutions. So if people just send a simple question to me and I don't really know all the background that could be on the story, it may be complicated to provide a good guidance or a proper good solution to the case. Again, I'm not really reading through everything that I'm getting, because at the moment I have my schedule kind of complete in terms of weekly basis. So usually people are actually scheduling for advance, like for the next week or 2 weeks after the one they are trying to schedule. But I will eventually reach out to everyone that I'm working with. And I really appreciate everyone that has been going on these coaching calls. I think people are enjoying this, and this makes me very happy, because essentially we're just providing everyone a better way of living their own lives, either in business or quality of life aspects such as relationships. And again, when we speak on practical terms, things may get way more clear, as we can get a better understanding of each one story, and then we can practically speak about possible solutions instead of just giving generalized structure on how to